Hey guys, Jamie here from Soap Authority. In my previous video, I showed you how to assemble a meat grinder. If you happen to miss that one, I'll have the link below. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to prepare your fat for grinding in your meat grinder. It's pretty easy to do, but I've got a few techniques that will make things go a little smoother for you. For this part of the process, you're going to need a cutting board, a sharp chopping knife, gloves, and 2 or 3 large bowls. So right here I have my deer fat, and this was donated to us from a family member who went hunting and got a muley deer, and we didn't want to waste the fat because a lot of times this gets thrown away and it makes excellent soap. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop this down into smaller pieces to make it a little bit easier on my meat grinder. And also, when I go to melt this down, I don't worry about little chunks of meat being in there because those are going to be skimmed off and won't end up in the final product. Some of it's pretty tough because this will give you a harder tallow than beef tallow. And that's one of the reasons it makes such a wonderful addition to your homemade soap. And this mat right here is just one of those cheap cutting mats. You can get them in a package about 3 to 5, maybe at your dollar store. And they work really good for projects like this, so you're not using your main nice cutting boards. This stuff right here, I try and remove as much of that as I can. It's kind of stringy and tough, and that'll jam up your meat grinder. And so I'll just set that aside. If you get a little bit in there, it's okay. So when I get all of this done, we'll just go ahead and grab our meat grinder and get that plugged in and run it through there. And then it'll be ready to melt down into tallow. Here I've got all of my deer fat chopped up into about 1-inch pieces, and the total weight of this is 5 pounds and 6 ounces. Alright, now that I have all my deer fat cut up into small pieces, I'm going to run it through my meat grinder, and I'm going to do that slowly to make sure that I don't overheat the motor or get it clogged up. And what you have down here is a reverse button. So if you're finding that it's clogging, you can hit that reverse, kind of move things back, and then retry pushing it forward through your meat grinder again. Okay, so I got my gloves on, and I'm just going to plug in my meat grinder and we'll get started. Now the reason you want to run your deer fat through a grinder like this is it makes it a little bit easier to melt in your pot. It melts more evenly, it melts faster, and you can use less heat, which gives you a better end product. Once we render all of this down and put it into plastic containers, I'll be able to weigh it and find out exactly how much tallow we got from this one deer. Now that I'm done grinding my deer fat, I'm going to disassemble my meat grinder, but first I'm going to unplug it. And once I have it disassembled, Then I can take that and put it in hot soapy water and then get it ready to wash up. You want to hand wash the parts on your meat grinder because if they get run through the dishwasher, they're going to discolor and possibly ruin the finish on those. So you just want to take all this apart, pull that extra deer fat out that's still left in there. You can melt that down as well. Just be careful because the blade's sharp. Now, to clean up your meat grinder, you're going to want to soak the parts in hot soapy water for about 15 minutes. And you don't want to put them in the dishwasher unless the manufacturer of your grinder says that that's okay to do so. Now that I've had my meat grinder parts soaking in this hot soapy water, I'm just going to go in with an old toothbrush and I'm just going to clean out in all the crevices and hard to reach places. Comes in handy. Just get that washed up and rinsed and then air dry everything. Now that you've seen how to chop and grind your fat, you'll be ready to start the rendering process. That will be the next video and you won't want to miss it because I'll show you all the simple tools you will need and the methods I use to get the most out of the process. Check out the link below and I'll meet you there.